Well, a major storyline to follow this offseason is how the Chiefs are completely overhauling their cornerback room with Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson off to the Rams. Now, Noel Williams showed some real promise last year. Christian Fulton was impressive late in the season once he was healthy, and Kader Kohu is an intriguing free agent pickup as a really solid player who's looking to bounce back off an injury. But it wouldn't be a surprise to still see the Chiefs go after another corner or two in the upcoming draft. So let's talk through a few names who could make some sense, beginning with Monster Delane from LSU. Now, Delane is a guy who's probably going in the top 15, so he'd be in play at number 9 overall if the Chiefs want to go that direction, and he has the makings of a lockdown corner. He's experienced in press coverage, he can change direction with ease, and despite battling a core muscle injury for much of last season, he was still among the top corners in all of college football, consistently making plays on the ball when challenged. So, number 9 overall is a little high for a corner historically, but for a guy like Delane, it could make a lot of sense. Now, the next few guys we'll talk about are a little tougher to project in terms of where they'll go in the draft. They could be top 20 sort of players, or it's also entirely possible they could be available at number 29 overall. And the first guy who falls in that category is Jeremiah McCoy from Tennessee. Now, based on the talent alone, McCoy is probably a top 15 pick, and maybe the first corner taken in the draft. He was excellent in 2024, consistently showing off his coverage and playmaking skills, but a torn ACL last January ended his 2025 season before it even got started. It was some bad luck for McCoy, but his talent speaks for itself, and for what it's worth, he went to the same high school as Patrick Mahomes. Now, speaking of Tennessee, how about McCoy's teammate with the Volunteers and Colton Hood? Hood is a tough, all-around corner who's physical in press, and against the run, he almost looks like a safety in terms of his attitude. It seems like an obvious prerequisite, but not all corners want to play the run nowadays. Well, if you want to play corner for Steve Spagnuolo, you have no choice, and Hood fits that bill. Another guy to know is Avion Terrell from Clemson, the younger brother of Falcons corner A.J. Terrell. Now, Terrell is a little smaller than the other guys we've talked about so far. Delane, McCoy, and Hood are all at least 6 feet tall, while Terrell checks in at 5'11", but he makes up for it with big-time athleticism and competitiveness. Specifically, he was great in the slot at Clemson last year, excelling in coverage, against the run, and as a blitzer. It's all to say that it's easy to see how he could fit in Spag's defense. Brandon Cisse from South Carolina is also interesting. Cisse is an explosive athlete. He recorded a 10-foot 11-inch broad jump and a 41-inch vertical jump at the combine, and he has great speed. Those are things you just can't teach, and combined with his size and length, he could grow into a special player. So those are some potential day 1 guys to know who could be in the mix in the first round, but I'll wrap up with another player who could be an option on day 2, and Keith Abney from Arizona State. Abney is on the smaller side as well. He's 5'10", but he plays with fire, he plays with intensity, and whoever he lined up against, he didn't make it easy for him. He could thrive as a nickel at the next level. And speaking of the slot, I'll throw one more name out there. How about D'Angelo Pons from Indiana? Now, Pons isn't the biggest guy. He's 5'9", but he does not care. He actually might be the most confident player in this class. Pons is uber competitive, and while he's not very tall, he can jump. His 43.5-inch vertical was the 3rd best of any player at the combine. So those are just a handful of names to know. This is actually a pretty deep draft at corner, so if the Chiefs want to continue this overhaul of their secondary with a draft pick or two, they'll have plenty of chances to do so.